So 2 summers ago, I had the chance to travel across England for a few months. It was this really incredible opportunity. I was shooting a documentary, and I took so many pictures along the way. I shot all the pictures in this video on this camera, the Lumix GX85 with a 20mm f1.7 lens. The pictures I took while I was at Stonehenge were some of my favorite of my entire trip in England. It was really interesting seeing the different ways that people would interact with this monument. Of course, there was plenty of people taking selfies, but you'd sometimes get really interesting or cool situations like this. This family was holding hands and praying. I'm really happy I was able to capture this moment. The composition of it maybe could have been a little bit better, but I do like how the stones kind of break up the background right across their faces. I think that's kind of a cool effect. I went kind of green on some of these edits. Then you would have people just in the background, just basking in the sun. There were so many people taking selfies there, and honestly, I don't mind all the selfie taking at these really famous places. You could be pretty cynical and think, oh wow, what a waste of modern technology. It's forcing us away from the actual moment, and instead it's just about capturing evidence that we're there. It's performative or something like that. But I think it's just kind of cute that humans feel this need to take this picture, even though thousands of other people have already taken it. I haven't taken it yet, so I want to capture this. I want to remember this moment. This woman with the iPad, so funny, so classic. And yeah, just look how happy these people are. Maybe I could have tilted down a little bit on this shot, but I do like how much clouds, how much negative space there is up there. And he's holding aloft the phone right above the Stonehenge. Maybe that means something, maybe not though, probably not. And yeah, there was this couple out here just basking in the sun, like I said, and the crows were hopping around trying to get in on the action. I think if this path wasn't here, it would be a better shot. And if I was a bit lower to the ground, maybe. Yeah, like this one's better because I was closer to them, although the sun wasn't as good. And this one, it's a whole different mood entirely. I probably also messed up the editing of it. I had no idea how to edit photos at the time that I did this. It was like my first summer ever doing photography. I still don't know how to edit photos, but at least I can pretend better now, I think. This one I really like for some reason. I like this guy leaning in the background. We've got a strong subject right here. His head's even in this gap between these clouds. And I like how we have a little bit of, motion back there with this couple walking away. I think I wish we were a little bit closer to the subject, or maybe we could see his eye better, but I do like kind of shooting from behind him. I think that's kind of a cool effect. And then this family is just really cute. Just the idea that you have this 7,000, how old is Stonehenge? 8,000? 6,000? 6,000? Yeah, 6,000-year-old monument. And then new beginnings, this family making a really nice shape here. That one turned out nice. Again, another big wide shot. Got a really good dynamic pose right there. You can't really see the pose. I wish maybe we were closer to that, but there is enough going on. I feel like it kind of makes up for it, but again, just a really cool pose. And then this one was also funny. You got to do anything to get the shot. And we saw a lot of what this guy's doing over here. Hands on the head. Let me see where the other one is. Yeah. Is it the same kid, actually? Yeah, it looks like it is. He was just doing this the whole way around. I guess he had enough of the day. And then this guy just lounging, just posted up, taking a nap. Again, I wish I'm a little bit crooked, I think, on this shot. I wish I was a little bit lower, so we're shooting it more from his perspective. Although, if we get lower, maybe we wouldn't see as much of his body. So, kind of a trade-off. Okay, and then the coolest part. When we went to Stonehenge, it was June 22nd, which is one day after the summer solstice. Now, the summer solstice is really important for Stonehenge. A lot of historians believe, and kind of the whole significance of the place is that it was once a solar calendar. It was used by these ancient civilizations to track the movements of the sun, the solstices, and the equinoxes. And these days, you're not allowed to go up and touch the stones, but on very specific days of the year, certain groups are allowed to go up and touch the stones. And in this case, we have a group of Druids. Now, historians are a little bit suspect if Druids actually had anything to do with Stonehenge, but regardless, this group of neo-Druids or modern-day Druids showed up on June 22nd to perform a ceremony that may have been performed at Stonehenge in the past. I'm not exactly sure what the significance of their ceremony was or what the ritual was supposed to symbolize, but regardless, it was just so cool to see them interacting with the stones in a way that felt ancient and removed from all the selfie taking and all the values of our modern day. This shot was really funny to me just because they're all getting dressed. The colors and lighting is really nice on this one, but and you can't really tell what's going on, but with the context of the rest of the photos, I do think it's funny to see them put on their white gowns. Had some security officers looking like a scene out of Midsummer. And then I happened to be right where they were walking up, and I just love all these photos. It almost doesn't even matter what I do with my technique or my composition, because the subject is just so interesting. It's gonna look cool even if I F it up. Oh, there's a little bird right up there. I wish that bird had been swooping across better. Yeah, so I don't know what the significance of this woman is, if she was a leader or if, she's kind of the main event for this ritual, but they were carrying her cape, and that was obviously a really cool moment of pageantry. The photo so much. His expression is so good in this. Although this one has a better composition because his hat doesn't clip right there, but you can't see his expression as well as this photo. And so if I could just somehow combine those two, it would be perfect. And then I got kind of the procession walking up to the stones. There was some little side groups who went out to these other stones that were on the outskirts of the ring. Yeah, this one was all right, although these people in the back don't have their full gowns on. Maybe they ran out or something. Here's a little moment of this clash between the ancient and the modern. Not particularly compelling, but, somewhat of a theme there. And then moments like this are where I felt the need for some kind of zoom on this lens. This is the equivalent of a 40 millimeter in full frame terms. And I love 40 millimeters. It's like my favorite focal length of all time, I think. Mainly because I shot so much with it over this summer. And it was surprisingly versatile. I never really felt the need for more reach, except for moments like this, when the Druids were wandering among the stones, and I couldn't punch in and see what they were doing or how they were interacting with the henge itself. I could have just stayed and shot them for hours, but I think we had to leave pretty soon after that. I found when I first got to Stonehenge, I had a hard time connecting with the stones themselves. They didn't really hold that much significance for me, and because you had to stand so far away from them, it's like, just feels like a pile of rocks off in the distance. It doesn't really feel like a place that I can relate to. And that's why at the beginning, I was so much more focused on the tourists, the people who had come to see it and their stories, and that was a lot more interesting thing for me to photograph. But then when the Druids showed up, it kind of recontextualized Stonehenge for me, and I realized this is a place where humans have been coming to for thousands and thousands of years. And even though the way that people use it has changed over time, it's still a place where people can come and gather and interact with each other and congregate. So getting to see the Druids do a type of ritual that maybe was performed by these ancient humans was so fascinating. I just wanted to take some time and show you guys these photos. They're some of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken. Not because of my technique or anything about what I did for them, but because the people that fill the frame were so interesting. And I think that was a good reminder that a good photo tells a story. And if you can find something interesting that speaks to the audience, relates to them, or tells some kind of interesting story, then it'll be a good picture even if you mess up the framing or the colors or the composition.